So hi everyone, welcome to the third episode of What Would Bigfan Do? I'm your host Bigfan. So this will be the last episode where I will be showing you some of the older IC Cup replays in terms of 2013, 2014, 2015, so to speak. The later episodes, so the next episode onwards, it will be more of the last year or two because that's the best skill increase. So there's two different replays I want to show you guys today. So they're both very long replays. So I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna be speeding through some of them. I just think they're very unique replays. So I'll start off by this first one. This is the first thing is a TVZ. So I played this probably around 2012. It's about my 75th game or so. Fighting Spirit. You guys probably should be aware of the map by now. My Zerg is spawning in the top right, Tusser, and I'm spawning in the bottom left as the Golden Phoenix, the Terran. So at this point in time, I had yet to win a D Zerg, and I remember this game clearly just because this was a D Zerg. So let's speed things up through a bit. I'll pause down if I see anything that's interesting. This is again a long replay, so I'd rather we didn't sit through an hour or so just watching this thing unfold. So my opponent's expanding. I'm just trying to do my best wall, which is how I walled at the time, but again, there's Zerglings here. This is not Zergling tight. I'm getting my academy, so nothing too crazy. The pool is done, and my opponent has his gas as well, so we're just, he's getting his third hatch. I should probably get these onto the ramp, maybe get an SCV block, especially if there's Zerglings out, but it doesn't look like he's scouted me yet, I believe. But I mean, he will any second now. So okay, there you go, that's perfect. So at least there's a block there. Made my factory after getting the gas. Nothing too crazy just yet. My opponent, on the other hand, is making sunken. So I mean, he could probably pass along. Wait, only had the one sunk. He didn't need to make another one right away because, as you guys see, this is a very small army, and it's cross spawns. So at least save your money, use it on drones. Looks like he went for 3 hatch lurker, which is definitely not the norm. At least it wasn't at the time. A lot of Zerg players like the Muralisks because you get air control. You also can go in and out dart throughout the whole base, keep the turn in his base as well. But with lurkers, if the turn is really good at microing against them, they will almost always defend, especially if they know they're coming and let's say they have a tank, kind of what I do here. And I also got the comp set, which was great. My macro could be better. I mean, it's low here, which is great, but so I'm getting my macro going. Need more workers here. 6 lurkers. Looks like he's going for a third as well. Getting his gas, so nothing out of the ordinary. He's used up his 700 minerals, down to about 350 now. Probably gonna go down to 0 as soon as this hatch gets planted here. So 6 lurkers, a couple of tanks. This is pretty good. I could have a bunker here, maybe a turret would have been nice, but I don't even think I have an engineering bay just yet. It looks like I just have it. This is also great as well. With the +1 armor, my marines will essentially need 3 spikes in order to die instead of the usual 2. And I mean, this was great on my part. A good spread, pulling back when needed, and the depots made sure that he's not gonna just walk in as easily. So pretty decent overall. He's obviously in a worse spot, but still, not the end of the world. He does need to draw up a bit more. This is not exactly great. Third hatchery is down. Let's speed up just a bit. So I'm getting some turrets, and I think I may have mentioned this in a previous cast. Mostly because players will just do, random things. Well, they'll do lurkers and then they might just switch into murals, then might go back. But his third hat is about to go down. He's going for another major assault. And again, this is bound to fail. Because you know what? 3 tanks. The supply depot is blocking the way. And as long as I sit back and just scan wherever I have the energy, I can easily, kill what he has here. So I'm definitely in a commanding position right now. A lot of gas. I probably didn't even need this gas here, honestly, unless I'm going for anything gas heavy. But you can see I'm also going for Marines. I don't even have a starport yet, which is really, really late at this point. Looks like he's getting his third and getting a fourth, which is a good idea. So a couple other things I want to say at this point in time. My TVZ need a lot of work, because when it comes to making units, especially making things like Marians, they have a quick cycle. I believe it's about every 25 seconds or so, 25, 28. What essentially this means is that you know, you need to go back and keep microing or macroing up throughout fights. And you know what? I just didn't have the capability. You know, I had, as you guys saw, it was about 100 APM. That's not really good enough to play, you know, when you're going for Iraqs, especially when, you know, there's 6 of them you have to macro from. You have to make workers. You have to keep the, you know, the attack up, which is, you guys can see what's going on here. No, so now let's take a look and see. So my armor is done. That's great. Does he have any armor, any units? So he has his own armor as well. But this is pretty bad, honestly. This is a very bad equal. This is still pretty bad as well. He's getting another base here. He has the top base here, which I think I have scouted it at this point. No, I actually haven't. But I mean, these lurkers are a potential telltale sign. And at this point in time, my macro is falling apart. His is better, but that's because his drone count is pretty low. So again, I mentioned this the last time, when you guys are at this point, just, you know, queue up units, something like this, just go all the way to 5, you know, you know, you are not at the level where we're playing like the pros. Maybe at some point the macro will improve over time, but you know, 2,000 units, imagine just how many Marines that could be, or how many tanks or SCVs, or any unit essentially. And that's whether, and okay, that's not exactly great. This is looks pretty healthy. This could be a lot better though. But I am getting my third, so eco-wise, I'm basically in a good position. He's in a bad position himself, but it does look like he's actually macroing up as well. Like he's making more drones, but his economy is still pretty bad, honestly. Okay, let's speed things up a bit and see what if things change. So lots of tanks. I could have honestly, if I moved with this and used it wisely, I could have probably honestly busted this base here, probably easily killed this, contained him. So he's trying for hydras. I'll go up a ramp. Obviously with the mischance, you guys can see like this, you know, he has no luck essentially. So this puts him even further behind, but I mean, I'm not even macroing properly at this point. And he's slowly starting to get himself back into the game. This is yeah, that's pretty nice overall. Still needs more, but at least he has a couple other gases he could take. And you know, he's floating 3,500 gas, which is quite a bit of gas anyways. On the other hand, looks like at this point in time, when I was playing back in 2013 or so, one of the hardest things was trying to take more bases. So, you know, taking expansion was pretty natural, you know, easy enough. Trying to get a third was more difficult, but I eventually forced myself to do it, and was one of the first games where I did, and I was able to hold it. But going any more than that, going for a 5th base, 6th base, you know, 4th, 5th, 6th base, you know, more production facilities, better macro, that's stuff that was all really difficult at that point in time. So let's see if I scout this. I believe I do. So did he drone up? No, this is still pretty bad. We mentioned this is healthy. So I mean, this is not too bad, but the 2 lurkers here would make this so much harder to destroy. I do see the base here. I have an army here, 1-1. What is upgrades? Upgrades. He's on 0-1. Okay. So this base is essentially gone unless he's gonna defend it. No. Okay, he does have a defiler, so this would make things easier for him for sure. And looks like he's trying to stop me from taking a 4th. So I mean, if you guys can see like that block there made life so much harder for him. I should probably have irradiated this defiler though, because yeah, this essentially happens. It's a bit of a pain, but a little nice medic block there as well. And he's essentially filtering his units through. I have also scarred his other base, but I mean, you know, there's still enough stuff that have to be taken care of. My macro is getting worse and worse. I'm still up in the supply, but I mean, let's face it. If he gets to the late game and, you know, makes an Ultra's Den, Ultra's Cavern, I can essentially make, you know, so many Ultras at once just because of the hatchery system. Okay, look at that. 15 Marines. I'm on like 1-2. I do have a sizable army. But his economy is getting getting a lot better. He's at least trying to drone up just a bit more. This is a pretty nice block, preventing me from walking this way, especially if I forget my science vessel. So I'm gonna speed up just a bit more. So now, one of the things you guys will see late game, I'm sure a lot of the people know this, anyone who's played StarCraft or any kind of Brood War will also know, but late game Dark Horse Swarm is a bit of a pain to deal with. So the best thing is you know, moving out, trying to keep the Zergling into his base and having to, you know, slowly move back once Dark Swarm comes into effect. And, you know, because it's just the way it works, you can at least micro out of it. And also, let's say you have air units attacking us, then you can always hide under it as well. That's something that I've personally done before. I'm sure other pros have done as well. It's, you know, works wonders. The thing is, it doesn't protect buildings. That's the one thing you guys should keep in mind. So I'm trying to juggle 2 assaults basically. And honestly, with this many units, I could have probably easily busted up the expansion. It was mostly Zerglings, a couple of fire bats as well, would have fried everything. But it doesn't look like I was a fan of fire bats at the time. Now, I do have a science facility, aside from the one port, which is not exactly common. You can see the block, putting the Marines under the vessel there. Unfortunately, they do die. Oh, there you go, and that's where the leopard trap came in. Again, he's still not droning up, but I mean, I guess for both of us, the game was getting a little crazy. He does have his ultras out. And looks like he has a couple of units. What about myself? I mean, that's a really healthy card, but I'm already mined up from 2 bases. I'm still on 6 strikes. I haven't done much at this point, and my standing army, well, the army in the middle of that essentially, is pretty much dead at this point. I do have quite a bit of tanks, but I mean, let's face it, he's 40 supply ahead. You know, I might have a huge bang, but if I don't have enough, you know, production structures to use them, what good is it gonna do? So I mean, the supply is getting closer, but you know, typically as a Turn, you want to be, you know, your supply should be a lot higher than the Zergs at this point in time, especially when we talk about 30 minutes into the game. But you guys can see he's doing pretty much a smart idea. He's just taking all over the place, even though he's not macroing, you know, properly, because this would be a lot higher, especially when he has this many bases. But at least he's doing something, you know, right from the Zerg perspective. I obviously need to be, you know, have more production. I should probably have brought this whole army with me as well. Try and go for the, you know, the one big move out. Because I'll tell you guys, if this is happening to me right, you know, nowadays, where I know this is you know, I'm in such a bad situation. The only chance that you can beat a Zerg who has this many bases, provided, assuming that he's actually macroing properly so he has enough drones and everything, is by going for one large attack when you try and defeat a couple of bases and then pull back. That's always been my game plan. But you guys can see, you know, I'm almost at 10,000, 9,000 minerals. So you guys believe this game is over, right? And I mean, I wouldn't blame you. I would think this game is over as well. So let's see what I end up doing. So I'm gonna fast forward it just a bit. So I mean, I'm still up in supply. That's again only because my opponent is not droning properly. Most of these are not even saturated by anything. They have a couple of drones at best. I mean, I do find this base. I'm gonna presumably drop it, but I've also lost my third. Not that I really need the money at this point in time. So there you go, the physics lab essentially. 2 more ports. Well, 3 more ports, and I have my first BC is building. One of his bases is down. Not that it really matters at this point. Well, at least not that it should matter. So I'm gonna speed up a bit because I mean we've gotten at this point in time. I'm probably just gonna be turtling because again, I know I essentially lost the game. I have only one more chance. So what am I planning to do? Mass BCs. You know what? When in doubt, mass BCs. And looks like my drops it from here ended up getting dropped his base at 3 o'clock, and I'm still trying to move out, but he's also not letting me take another base. 6 BCs, 7 BCs, to be 8 BCs soon enough. So still again, not really good with the droning. But at least he breaks my front. The thing is, this is probably not something he was expecting. He's probably not expecting to see 8 BCs just out of thin air. Because keep in mind, the guy is essentially, I mean, he's floating right now, but if you guys remember, he was barely had 200, 300 minerals at one point. So of course, being such a good mannered player, I decided that I could still win the game, and you know what, I go on the offensive. Nine BCs going to every base, and my opponent almost all of a sudden is just running all over the place trying to defend, you know, spores at bases. Well, not all bases, a couple spores here. I'm obviously throwing everything to all over the place because I realized that as long as I kill the hatcheries and he doesn't have much air units, then I will win the game. And if you guys take a look, most of his AAs is Hydras, anti-air units, which aren't honestly not going to do anything against this many BCs. Biggest thing to be concerned about is Plague and Defilers, because you know a single plague on these species will make them so much easier to kill. And you know, a single dark swarm with even a single hydra, I mean, it won't really kill them that fast, but it can still, you know, be so problematic. So now all of a sudden, I'm the one running around killing bases, even though I have less than half a supply, and he's the one who's running around trying to defend against an army of BCs. Now, a couple of things. I mean, if I still had an SCV left somewhere, if I ran one out, you know, with a couple of depots somewhere, so I'm able to actually make units. So I'm able to at least make, you know, make some more BCs. Because you see, I still have some of my facilities. So his supply is dwindling. He is looking for my units still. I mean, he still has a decent amount, but the thing is, this is a lot of sunkens, or this is a lot of spores. And I still have 5 BCs, although a lot of these guys are wounded, you know, 30 kills, 25 kills, 26 kills. As you can see, he's down to the end of, you know, we're clearly close. I'm not really sure why I left the Defiler mount, but I think at this point in time I knew it's really close. And keep in mind that in this kind of situation, Yamato will pay off in dividends because it's all energy based and the energy will regenerate. So he still has the one mining base. I don't believe he has any other hatches around the map. And at this point in time, I still haven't scouted this. So I actually didn't even really know he had a base. Otherwise, I would have honestly just probably went for it. Because I'm going all the way on the other side. I probably believe he still has units in this, you know, this side, so I'm just pissing things off. Now I do have the one structure here. It looks like he's found everything. If any of these 3 structures go down, this is essentially a loss for me. Oh. Okay, yeah, he actually ended up finding everything. So at this point in time, having news would be nice. So for any player who's actually a Blue Bro player who hasn't played StarCraft 2 before, I mean, Ewes can actually help you repair in the game. You can drop them if you have a CC. So I guess being able to repair my, you know, my only 2 buildings, yeah, GG. So I mean, what was the point of this game? I just thought it was one of those interesting games that I just had to share. I went from being completely defeated, even though my opponent could have played a lot better, to, you know, being in a decent position. Now, the next game I want to show you guys is actually a PvT. So I was the Protoss, also on Fighting Spirit. Remember, this was the common map. So he was the Terran spawning in the top right. I'm the Protoss in the bottom right. So let's speed things through a bit. So just a chit chat, and I'm obviously confused with what's going on. Okay, so I got my gate first. He's probably getting his barracks. Yeah, probably a gas soon enough, unless he's going for like a 1 racks expand. My gas, come on, 2 more workers, 2 more workers. There you go. I'm a genius. I am. Well, I mean, you know what, Smug? He might be right. I love you also. Tell me anything that bothers you. You know, this was a very nice opponent. And because he's nice, I decided to 3-gate him. See, I'm quite the gentleman. So, I mean, he needs to have a... Oh, well, the first Zealot's on its way. This should be very interesting. He doesn't even have... So, there's not... So, yeah. He's building a bunker in my main. This is so funny. I didn't actually remember this. I just remember this was a really odd game. I have also managed a simulator. Now, he does have the bunker, which is a great position. This can at least block, you know, most of his mineral line. But I have also chased him away. I'm also getting my expansion. You guys can see I'm in a great position. He's also getting a second racks, and I mean, at this point in time, looks like he's going on offensive. I only have 2 Zealots. Oh no, 4 Zealots. That's pretty decent. I don't even have my core yet. So honestly, these mains are just, you know, they're all in the red. As if he blocks, he can at least maybe kill a Zealot. Also, you guys can see I'm not exactly allowing him much, you know. So still rallying. Honestly, he needs to have a bunker here, expand right away, just so he can grab the gas, or at least have a bunker, commit his units to try and break the gas if he doesn't want to expand that fast, and get a factory ASAP or something, because you know what? You know, this is a very bad situation for him. And in a straight up fight, Zealots would shred Marines if they're just sitting there, if there's no micro. If there is medics, you know, Fire Rat, Stim, it's a different story depending with how the medic blocks are. So this was probably a mistake on my part, because I just donated most of my Zealots and he still has most of his Marines there. But at least I do have my expansion. I have a lot of gas. And he has yet to get his gas. So he's going, looks like he's going bio in this case. So let's take a look and speed up things a bit. So a decent sizable army. Question is, did he get an academy for Stim yet? No, he hasn't yet. So his bio is pretty tame right now. This honestly isn't really that scary. He's getting an engineering bay. You guys can see some of the micro, the splitting, not focusing fully on the workers. Now keep in mind, when this game was played, I was still trying out different races. I wasn't really sure what I'm gonna play, so I was playing as random. Of course, I would choose a race, I believe, in the selection screen, so it wasn't completely random, but at least my opponent would know what I was doing, or what race I was. So how is he? Does he have come on, an academy? Okay, finally. So I have my third. Okay, that's a pretty good block. Nothing too crazy right now. Looks like we're both just finally macroing. Well, so you guys can kind of see how, playing against goons, even if it can kind of be annoying, because with micro, these things can be really amazing. So not too bad. Not too bad. But yeah, a scout. Now for the players who don't really know, in Brood War, typically going bio is a little suicidal just because there's Reavers and Storms, and both of those, those will cause a lot of damage to bio units who only have 40 HP. So having an opponent go bio is not so much, maybe it's a different thing he's trying, but Stormer essentially, a single Storm or two can melt a whole bio group. Yo. Okay, so let's see. 4 gates. I could have probably honestly went up to add another 3 gates or so, considering I'm throwing so much money. I have another scout on the way. There you go. So I'm adding a couple more gates. 4 more gates, not bad. It's pretty healthy. Looks pretty healthy. Let's take a look. This looks pretty healthy. This looks pretty healthy. And yeah, this is pretty decent overall. Where's the scouts? I guess he was so scared of scouts that he essentially just had to make that many turrets. So I mean, Goon and Templars, not really exactly that terrible, especially with the Storm who's probably gonna melt these things if I get them in there. He really needs, honestly, tanks. And seeing as there is high Templars, he needs Amp as well, but I mean, his guess was so delayed. I mean, he's not even making units at this point. On the other hand, I have this. There's so many Dragoons in here. Looks like he's probably maybe wants to take his 4th. He probably realized that he's actually behind. I'm taking my own 4th. His 3rd hasn't even been made just yet, so I mean, taking a 4th here, assuming that's what he had in mind, is a bad idea. He does have a decent army though. And he does have the 0-1, which is at least a bit of a saving grace, I guess. But I mean, it would probably be a lot nicer if he had that versus Zealots. I'm a pretty gun heavy. I have a lot of Storms as well. You can see, like, look at how many things got killed. And I also have, yeah, the DTs. A protest's best friend. Making cannons. Now, a couple other things. I mean, this guy, it was probably obvious to me at this point that he's just going for mostly bio with Goliath. The reason I say that is because you typically don't make cannons. Well, you make them in the later game if you worry about vultures, but typically you won't see them as much, um, in certain parts of the game depending. And the reason I say that is because tanks will shred apart cannons, so you'll add 2 of them in the late game for vultures just to prevent the run-bys. But I mean, at least it makes things easy. I also had 5.6k minerals. I could probably put 20 cannons and it wouldn't really phase my bank. So he's getting another base here, and it's just scouted by a DT. Because keep in mind, when I'm playing this, I don't really know what this guy is like. I don't know what, he may be some Gusu player who's, just having some fun. Or he may be actually someone who's probably on my level. It's always hard to tell because with the old days on IC Cup, just because someone has a D record doesn't actually mean he's a noob. He could be smurfing. And I mean, honestly, this guy isn't doing that badly for himself, considering the situation he was in early on. He's just not macroing properly, but honestly, I'm not really macroing properly either. But, once I realized, when I was playing against the guy, once I realized that, he's just trying to play for have fun, that's essentially what I was doing. That's why when you guys see all the scouts and everything, it's mostly just a response to the fact that he's going bio. And this is actually a really nice spread from both sides. The only thing is, DTs will one-shot everything. Storms will also melt his bio and will do a lot of damage on the Goliath as well. And because of the move up, this left his third exposed. He doesn't even have a base here anymore. Of course, I want to join on the fun, so what do? What do? Let's take a look and see. I'm just waiting. Yeah, scouts, mass scouts. And I mean, look at this. Even though, I mean, at this point in time, I was throwing down a couple forges. Get some upgrades. Probably take over the map. Honestly, take the space here. Take this a hell of a lot faster. Take this space. Probably leave this for him. So I'm gonna speed up at this point because if it's pleading for a third base. So what is he doing? Oh, he has a covert ops, so is he gonna get ghosts? Oh, this game is actually really amazing. Forgot how funny it is. So now, a couple of points if you guys are ever gonna get scouts. If you ever want to get scouts, please make sure to get their speed upgrades. You guys can see I'm actually amassing scouts at this point. Please, friend, take 5 mid break. Yeah, I mean, you know what? Honestly, guys, I could have probably took a 5 mid break, and I don't think he would have come back unless 5 mid break after I've spammed the cannons all over, and I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have been able to come back. I'm obviously disappointed, my friend, but look at that, he's actually mashing ghosts as well. Oh, and he's right, but you know what? If he actually researched lockdown, he could probably lock down all my scouts. Of course, he doesn't really know, and I'm still, getting there more and more. I could probably spammed Stargate. So it only made ghosts if I give him minerals. I honestly should have just said yes, go for it, especially seeing as, I'm almost maxed out. A lot of scouts already, just waiting to move in. Come on. Come on, move in, move in, move in. No, give it. So I gotta continue massing up. Spec Corporation. Now, do you guys know why he made that many ghosts? It's because he had so much gas. I mean, okay, come on, just... Yeah, looks like we're moving in. You know what, this is pretty nice. I probably never scouted this, but... Is this the end of Smuck? Oh, so it looks like it. Come on. No time for lockdown. So he actually got lockdown, looks like. Go into base, only with Ka. Yeah, and if there's one thing you guys need to know, scouts are probably one of the coolest things in the whole game. Yeah, this was pretty weird to me because I even know that you shouldn't be too lazy. GG. So you know what, that was a great, fun game. Smuck, if you're out there, thanks for great memory. So those are the two Reapers I want to show you guys. A TVZ, which was essentially in a pretty good situation, probably almost won by my, if I look at it now, I probably should have won that TVZ. Then I was in a really bad place. I was about to lose it. Then I almost won it, but I never scouted that last hatchery, which gave me enough gas and time to make a couple more skirts to, get my units into the burning range. And the other one was, as you guys saw, the PvP, where my opponent wanted to have some fun after I did the gas tier. So, you know what? Why not? Let's just go mass scouts and storms and have some fun with it. So this concludes the third episode. Hopefully you guys found this interesting. And with the next episode, I will be showing you guys, some of the newer replays. So look forward to that. Let me know in the comments what you think, what you liked, what you didn't like. And thanks for tuning in.